What is up, homies? My name is Felix, and today I'm bringing you guys yet another special beat video. So today, as you might have been able to tell by the title of this video, I am going to be fixing your guys' beats today. So on my Discord server, which you all should join, there will be a link in the description, I asked everybody to send me some project files for either FL Studio or for LMMS. And you guys sent in a bunch of them actually, so what I decided to do, instead of messing with them all in one video, which will take like 4 hours, I figured that I'll make this into a series if you guys like it enough, and then I'll probably do like 2 or 3 per video. And yeah, so basically I'm just going to be taking your guys' beats, whether they're full beats, whether they're unfinished beats, I'm going to be taking them and basically just turning them into full beats. I'm going to be making them better, and yeah, so let's get into it. But first, if you guys want to send me any beats for, you know, some of the other videos, some of the other episodes, make sure that you send them to this email. And also make sure you check out my Instagram and my SoundCloud, which will both be down in the description below if you want to check it out, along with the playlist of songs I've produced, and my beat store, and also the Discord. So yeah, now we can get into this video. Okay everybody, so the first beat that we have is going to be inside of LMMS, and this one is from Gerald Batista, I think, and we're going to be messing with his beat first for the very first beat of this new series. So basically with the project files, with both FLPs and with LMMS project files, they're only going to store the pattern data, so they're not going to store all of the, you know, plugin data or all of the sound data that you have for your drums or whatever other sounds. So basically what I'm going to be doing is just taking your guys' exact patterns and then just filling them in with a bunch of random drum sounds, and then I'm going to be refining the drums and changing them, and also putting in like my own plugins and stuff. But I'm going to keep all your guys' MIDI patterns until I, you know, maybe mess with them later on. But yeah, so for now with this beat, all that I have done is just taken his exact patterns, swap the key zone out for creepy piano because I couldn't find my key zone for some reason, but creepy piano works just fine as well. And then I also changed out this DSK Orans for Iota Mini, which is a new plugin that I found recently, and I tend to like it a lot. So I figured that that was a bell sound. So basically the melody that he has right here sounds like this. So yeah, I think that melody is actually pretty good. I'm pretty proud of you, my boy, for that one. But also, when we have the drums here, which the drums need a little bit more work, but that's kind of what I'm going to focus more on today. So basically, all the drums that I've replaced out for my own drum sounds, except for this, because he actually had one of my claps for my drum kit that I released, so shout out to him for that one. But yeah, so the drums and all of it is going to sound like this. So yeah, basically that's the way that that sounds so far. I have already a couple things in mind that I want to change. So the first thing I have in mind is that he has 2 kicks here, but I'm just going to take this one out and keep this one because this one hits harder. So now this isn't going to be like clipping the kicks, and it's going to sound much better and much harder. So yeah, already that's a good change. Another thing that I'm going to do is actually take out this, my clap, unfortunately, which is very odd for me to do. But yeah, I'm going to take that out, and then I'm going to change the pattern of the claps so that they just hit here instead of hitting at the beginning ones too. So we're gonna have it be like this, more spaced out, and I can keep this one here actually. So now it's gonna sound more like this. And now the next thing that I want to do is change the kick pattern so that it has a little bit more bounce to it. So I'm gonna put the kicks. Oh, also what I'm going to do is, because I copied all these, I'm going to reset the names on them so they're not like kind of getting in my way and looking all weird. Okay, so now that I reset the names, I'm going to get back to this kick pattern. So I'm going to start it out like this. Okay, so now that I'm done kind of rearranging the kick pattern a little bit, I'm going to take out some of this at the end here, because it kind of loops anyway, so we're gonna just like pretty much keep the same pattern. But yeah, so for now I'm gonna bring this down, and then this little sound, he had a tambourine, so I just found like the closest thing to a tambourine that I could find. I am going to put in a little percussion sound of some sort. I'm gonna put in this shaker, I think. Actually, I'm gonna put in the shaker here. and then I'm going to change this to an open hi-hat. And then actually I think I'm gonna get rid of this shaker, and then I'm gonna add a little backup snare of some sort. So now what I'm gonna do is actually mess with this melody a little bit, because I want it to kind of not loop as much. So this melody, if I'm seeing it correctly, should be in the key of F sharp minor. So I'm gonna go to here, go to Aeolian, boom, mark current scale, and now this should match up pretty good. So what I think I'm actually gonna do is add a new chord that comes in here. Alright, so I changed up the chords a little bit, and now I'm going to just add a little bit of variation with the counter melody. So I'm gonna go in and add maybe a couple little like broops in there and stuff, and see how it sounds. Okay, so I added a little bit of a counter melody, and then I added some even higher up notes, and the whole thing sounds like this now. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good, and it kind of keeps his same, pattern that he had, but just adding, a little bit more bounce to it. And I think I'm going to maybe pitch it up a little bit, but I'm not totally sure yet. I'm gonna first actually copy this over, because this is the same pattern, but with some reverb on it, I believe. Or no, some EQ, sorry. So actually what I'm gonna do, because I don't really like this creepy piano sound, is I'm gonna change it out with another piano sound. And the other piano sound is actually another free piano, kind of like Keyzone, but it only has like one preset, which kind of stinks. The plugin is basically this like Versillion upright piano or whatever, and I'm just gonna turn the attack down, turn all of these pretty much all the way up, and then I'm gonna copy the melody, paste it in here, and now we're gonna have this. And then I'm going to take these bottom bass notes here, and I'm gonna turn them down to like 78, and do the same with this one. Okay, so I like that quite a bit. So now what I'm gonna do is basically just switch out this creepy piano. It says Keyzone, but it's a creepy piano. I'm gonna switch it out for the same plugin as well. And then what I'm gonna do with this second one is do Control A, and then bring all of these down to like 102. Because that makes it a lot quieter and like duller, I guess. And then I'm going to turn the volume on the actual plugin up, and it just kind of layers them a little bit. And I think what I might even do is go up with this one. And now I'm gonna actually rename this one Yoda Mini. And this one is the little bell sound. And honestly, this little bell sound, it doesn't really have anything that I would change about it. It fits in really well with the piano melody, so I'm just gonna keep this pretty much the same. But one idea that I had is to add another plugin, and I think the plugin is gonna be Expand, which is a plugin that costs I think like $15, but it's not a big deal because you can replace the sound that I'm gonna use in it with Sonatina or whatever other substitute plugin you may have at your disposal. But I'm gonna use the harp in here because I like the harp quite a bit. And I'm going to basically copy the chords. So I'm gonna go in here, go copy, and then paste. And now I'm just gonna get rid of all this top part. So now that I got rid of that, what I'm gonna do is zoom in, and then I'm going to adjust these so it's kind of like an arpeggio. Okay, so basically I just kind of strummed some of these chords manually, and then I arpeggiated like a few of them. So it kind of gives it this nice little weird bounce of these chords. So it's gonna sound like this now. And then I'm gonna add this in again, by the way. So I think that sounds good. I might pitch this up actually. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it here and see how the whole thing sounds together. So yeah, I think that sounds pretty good so far actually. The next thing I'm going to do is add a little 808, because I remember in the email him saying that he wanted me to add an 808 because he couldn't think of one. So I'm going to add an 808 anyways, but I just got to make sure it's a pretty banging one. Okay, so I had to go with the classic for this one. The first thing I'm going to do is change it to C because I know it's a C, and then I'm going to turn up the amount and then the attack just a smidge, and now I'm going to copy the bass notes and then make them into the pattern of the 808. Alright, so I just put in the 808 pattern, and actually for this one, since the 808 kind of slaps so hard, I'm just going to take out the kick entirely, but now the whole thing should sound like this. So yeah, obviously it still has a little bit of work to do with the mixing and stuff. I'm going to change these hi-hats up because he does have two different hi-hat patterns going, and I'm going to make this one louder and this one quieter. And because I made the drums really like simplified, what I'm going to do is go in and add some rolls actually. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to go to 300 actually, and just add a couple rolls. Alright, so I added these little rolls in here, and I think this makes it sound pretty good and spices it up a little bit. So yeah, that sounds nice. And now I'm going to go into here, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit, just to kind of differentiate it from the other pattern. And now the two of these together will sound like this. And now the whole thing will sound like this. Minus the end part where the drums cut off because we're going to make it into a full song. So yeah, next thing that we have to do, and pretty much the last thing, is make this into a full beat. So I'm going to separate all these out into their own beat and bassline editor. And because I've seen people asking me about this quite a bit, because I know there's some new viewers and stuff, what you do is you basically just go copy, and then you go to create a new bassline, and then paste it in here, or paste it into the correct one actually. So now you'll have that same pattern in here, and then you go in here and then you do clear all notes. So now we're going to do that for each and every one, and it's a very time consuming process, which I wish they would make a simpler, you know, like command for it, but however, this is the way to do it. Alright, so basically now I just took all of these sounds, separated them all into their own beat and bassline editor, renamed them, and then put a little thing in here, and now I'm going to work on the arrangement. So basically I'm just going to go in here, copy this over a couple times, and then move this over here. And now we're going to add a little intro part with the piano like this. Alright, so I pretty much just laid out the beat here, and I have this little pattern, you know, it switches up, you know, every 8 bars, kind of switches up the drums a little bit. And I also have this automation track here because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the master, and then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to do control and drag this in. Alright, so basically with this automation track, what we're going to do is look where the beginning of this fade out should be. So I have it at the last like 16 bars here. So basically we're going to have it at the start of the 45, and then it's going to fade out to the end of the 52 right there. And basically I'm going to do a whole video on automations pretty soon, so I'm not going to go too deep in depth about this, but basically it's going to fade out from here to the end, and then yeah, that's basically the whole beat. So yeah, basically now we have one beat done, and now it's going to be on to the next one after I play this. Okay, so here we are inside of FL Studio for the FL Studio beat, and this beat is from Jackson Baker, so shout out to you. And it says 145 BPM up here, but right here it says 155, so I'm just going to keep it at 155. And also, some of these sounds I didn't have, so these red ones were sounds that I didn't have, so I swapped them for sounds that I do have. And then I'm pretty sure with these other sounds, FL Studio just found sounds that were named the same thing, so they're not going to sound the same, but I do have the ample guitar that he used, so the ample guitar should sound the same, and it sounds like this. So the first thing that I'm going to do with this is add a little bit more variation with this guitar melody, because it's a little bit too simple right now. It's only a 4-bar pattern, so I'm going to make it more complex. And I'm also going to put in some actual guitar, so I'm going to record my own guitar, because ample guitar is not as real sounding as a real guitar would be. So as you can see, he's got a soft clip around here, so he knows what he's doing. I'm going to hook this up as a microphone channel, and now if I turn this on, there will be 2 playing. And now I'm going to get my guitar, and I'm going to look at the chords that are being played here. And basically, it's very simple. The chords that are being played, it's like this, as you can see here. Sounds the same. So I'm gonna record that for my guitar, and that's kind of gonna be like the bass, like chords or whatever. So yeah. Alright, so I just recorded the little guitar thing, and it sounds like this. And it's a little bit off, so I'm going to chop it and fit it to the lines. And now, because I want a little bit more variation, I'm going to record basically the same thing, but with a slight variation at the end, just like a little bit of a chord change. Okay, so I just recorded this other part, and I chopped it and sliced it and everything. So now my guitar part is going to sound like this at the end. So yeah, that just adds a nice little variation, and now I'm going to copy that into here. So basically, what I did with that is I just kept going up, so it was like this. So basically, what I played translated into MIDI is going to look like this now. And now I'm going to make what I played one whole sample, and then I'm going to make some other top melodies to go with this guitar to make it more full and give it some more bounce and stuff. Okay, so basically I just recorded these 2 other guitar melodies, and both of them sound like this together. So I'm going to pair that up with everything else, and then I'm going to actually get rid of this original ample guitar counter melody, because if I keep that in there, it's going to kind of crowd up the whole guitar thing. So I'm just going to get rid of that entirely. And now I'm going to mess with the drums a little bit, so I'm going to change them out for some better drums. Okay, so I edited some of these hi-hat rolls because some of them were a little bit quiet, and I kind of changed them around a little bit. And now I'm going to move on to the kick. So I'm going to stick with this 808 that he has in here, but I'm going to match it up better with the new pattern here. So what I'm going to do is bring this down here, and basically with your 808 pattern, this goes for everybody, there's a little tip for everybody, you want to match it up with whatever the bass note of your chords are. So for this one, we're going to have this be here, and then this one would be like this, and now we're going to copy this over and make it up here now. And now I'm going to put this up an octave. And then I also right click this and put on cut itself, because that way the 808s aren't going to bleed into each other. So I'm going to put this up as well so that it matches up. And now what I'm going to do is actually pitch the whole thing down a couple octaves, because as you can see, these 808s are going pretty high up here, and I don't want them to sound too high. So I think what I'm going to do is pitch this down like 1, 2, 3. And now that this is down 3, I have to do 3 down to everything else too. So this is going to go 1, 2, 3. And now the guitar melodies that I came up with are going to go down 3 as well. And now with the key change, the whole thing is going to sound like this. However, we're still going to need to do some mixing and stuff as well, but that's just how it should sound at the moment. And I might actually pitch it up one more because this is a little deep, but for now I'm going to keep it like this. And I'm actually going to start mixing it a little bit once I change out a couple more of these sounds. Alright, so in the mixer I can see he was actually doing some somewhat advanced stuff here with sidechaining the kick and the 808. So I'm going to fix this sidechain a little bit because I like to have my releases down a little bit. And then I'm going to turn this kick up quite a bit because I want it to slap a little bit harder. I also fixed this EQ because the boost was a little bit too extreme, so I brought it down a little bit. And now I'm going to go in and EQ all of my guitar sounds that I recorded. Alright, so I pitched everything up one more semitone, and then I also added a duplicate of my bass guitar melody that I recorded. And I also pitched it up so that it's opposite of the lower one, so this one is going to sound like super high up. And it's going to layer nicely with the low one. The other thing that I'm going to do is just make some slight adjustments to the beat, and then this beat will also be pretty much done. Okay, so I basically just made a couple little changes to the layout. I added this crash in a little bit more often because they had it kind of like here and here, and then I think here. So I added it pretty much after every 8 bars. And then I made a duplicate of the hi-hat pattern. I went like this, and then I did make unique. And then I just made it a simple 2-step pattern to come in kind of at the little break here. And then I took out the snares in that part, and then I kind of just did a little fade out at the end, and that's pretty much it. And then I also put isotope ozone on here, but that's totally not necessary. It's just to make it a little bit louder and make it sound a little bit nicer. But yeah, pretty much this is how the beat sounds now. So yeah, that's pretty much gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I kind of enjoyed messing with your guys' beats, and you know, hopefully you guys can learn like a thing or two about what you can do differently, or you know, take some pointers or whatever it may be. So yeah, as I said, hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to follow my Instagram and my SoundCloud. Those will be down in the description. Playlist of songs I produce as well. And yeah, make sure to leave any questions that you have down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys next time.
Hey, looking for myself in all these drugs, I'm making bad decisions. Hard on the shelf, yeah, I'm a gangster, but I still got feelings. Had to watch my stuff, my slime, but it been sitting next, trying to catch me slipping. I don't want no help, stay in my own lane, I'm about my business. Looking for myself in all these drugs, I'm making bad decisions. Hard on the shelf, yeah, I'm a gangster, but I still got